Imagine waking up and feeling peaceful until you try to move your hand. You realize your fingers feel heavy and distant, covered in a strange, prickly sensation like hundreds of tiny needles dancing under your skin. Most people simply shake their hands for a few seconds, waiting for the warmth to return, assuming they just slept in an awkward position. It seems like a minor annoyance, but for those over 50, these fleeting moments of numbness often carry a much deeper message from the body. In my clinical practice, I have noticed how easily we dismiss these morning tingles as a simple result of a bent wrist. However, this recurring numbness is rarely just about your sleeping position. It is often a silent indicator of how your circulation or nervous system is functioning while you rest. These changes can develop quietly for years without a single loud alarm. Understanding why your hands feel this way is the first step in protecting your independence and the fine motor skills you use every day. While it might feel like a temporary glitch that disappears with a little movement, the truth is that your body uses the stillness of the night to reveal hidden vulnerabilities. There is a specific biological rhythm to these symptoms that most people completely overlook, and ignoring these signals can lead to complications that are much harder to manage later on. I want to show you exactly what is happening under your skin while you sleep, and why those few minutes of morning discomfort might be the most important health update you receive all day. In my years of clinical practice, I have seen thousands of patients over 60 describe this exact same moment. That heavy, lifeless feeling in the fingers right after opening their eyes. Most people simply wait for the warmth to rush back. But from a medical perspective, these morning tingles are rarely just about a bent wrist. They are a nocturnal health indicator, revealing processes that have been quietly developing in your circulation and nerves for years. If you want to learn how to recognize these silent signals your body sends during the night, you can follow me on this channel. When your hands go numb, it is often a sign of pressure or irritation on the pathways that carry signals from your brain to your fingertips. This pressure usually stems from three main areas: wear and tear in your neck, a narrow passage in your wrist, or changes in how your body handles energy. While we often blame a bad pillow, underlying issues like carpal tunnel syndrome or nerve sensitivity are the real reasons your hands feel asleep while you are trying to wake up. Understanding this internal mechanism is vital because ignoring these signs can lead to a permanent loss of the fine motor skills you rely on for everyday independence. However, there is a second, much more surprising factor that connects your hand numbness to the way your heart and blood vessels behave, specifically between 2 and 4 in the morning. Most people believe their hands and their heart operate on completely separate systems, but we are uncovering a hidden connection that changes how we view these nighttime tingles. One of the most common habits I see in my clinic is what I call the protective curl. Many people unknowingly sleep with their wrists bent sharply inward, often tucked tightly under their chin or a heavy pillow. While this might feel cozy, it creates a physical bottleneck for the nerves that travel to your fingertips. This simple mechanical habit is often the first trigger, but it rarely acts alone. It usually reveals an underlying sensitivity in your nerves that has been building up for quite some time. If you want to better understand these silent signals the body sends during the night, you can follow me on this channel. This curled position is especially problematic because of how our bodies redistribute fluids once we lie down. For many of my patients over 60, a seemingly healthy evening routine, like drinking a large amount of water or a specific herbal infusion right before bed, can actually increase the internal pressure within that narrow wrist passage. This extra fluid makes the nerve even more vulnerable to the pressure of a bent wrist, turning a small habit into a significant morning problem. But even if you manage to keep your hands straight, you might still wake up with that prickly sensation. This is where the situation begins to shift towards something more internal and hidden. There is a second factor, a silent change in the way your blood moves through your upper body during deep sleep. that most people never consider. This structural detail in your neck and circulation is what really dictates how your nerves recover overnight. And it is the key to understanding why some people feel fine while others wake up in distress. Think of your nerves as tiny, delicate garden hoses carrying vital information to your fingertips. During the day, everything flows freely because you are moving, but at night, this flow can be easily interrupted. If there is even a slight kink in that hose, the signal slows down to a trickle. This is exactly what happens when your nerves face physical pressure. You might think it is just the weight of your head on your arm, but often the blockage is happening deeper inside, where the nerves pass through narrow tunnels in your wrist or neck. Here is where our perception needs to change. We often assume that if there is no sharp pain, there is no real problem. However, while you sleep, your body naturally redistributes fluids toward your upper body and chest. If you have even a tiny bit of hidden inflammation or a slight narrowing in your wrist, a condition known as carpal tunnel syndrome, that extra fluid acts like a tight, invisible glove, squeezing the nerve from the inside out. Suddenly, that normal morning stiffness isn't just about getting older. It is a sign that the vital pathways for your nerves are becoming dangerously crowded. This realization changes everything about how we view our rest. If your hands feel like they belong to someone else during those first few minutes of the day, your body is revealing that its internal communication lines are under siege. But why does this specific pressure happen more intensely for some people, and why is it often worse during the deepest hours of the night? There is another factor involved that connects your neck and your heart's rhythm during sleep. Understanding this hidden link is the key to stopping the damage before it becomes permanent, and the explanation is simpler than you might think. Many people believe that once the tingling fades and the warmth returns to their fingers, the danger has passed and the problem is solved for the day. They treat it like a simple mechanical glitch, a temporary kink in the system that movement can fix. However, there is a much more subtle and frequent error that I see in my clinic, a habit involving how we react to this numbness that actually hides a deeper, progressing issue within the cervical spine or the metabolic system. This is where the situation begins to change direction, because this numbness is often just the tip of the iceberg, a quiet warning of a larger breakdown in communication between your brain and your limbs. We often focus so much on the hand that we miss what is happening further up in the neck or the metabolic system. I recently saw a patient who thought his tingles were just aging, but what we discovered in his case reveals a truth that proves how this works in practice. I remember a patient named Robert, a retired craftsman who spent his life building furniture with incredible precision. He came to see me not because of pain, but because he was frustrated that he could no longer hold his morning coffee mug steady for the first 10 minutes after waking up. For months, his right hand felt like a heavy piece of wood, completely numb and unresponsive until he vigorously shook it back into life. Like many of you, he simply assumed he was sleeping on his arm too heavily. Robert had lived with this morning ritual for nearly 2 years, convinced it was just a natural part of turning 65. He even bought 4 different orthopedic pillows, hoping the tingling would vanish. But the numbness only climbed higher up his arm as the months passed. What he didn't realize was that his body was desperately trying to tell him that the narrow tunnels in his wrist were becoming congested. By the time he reached my office, the muscle at the base of his thumb had already begun to show signs of thinning. When we looked closer, we discovered that Robert's issue wasn't just a simple mechanical pinch in his wrist. It was actually a combined signal from a slight wear in his cervical spine and a subtle shift in how his body processed sugar, which made his nerves much more sensitive to pressure. This is a detail most people miss. Your hand numbness isn't always a single problem, but a symphony of small changes happening at once. In Robert's case, his nighttime habits were magnifying a vulnerability that had been growing silently for a decade. The turning point for Robert was understanding that those few minutes of morning tingling were actually a gift, a window of opportunity to intervene before the nerve damage became permanent. We caught his condition just in time to preserve his fine motor skills, allowing him to continue his carpentry hobbies with his grandchildren. His story is a powerful reminder that your hands are the messengers of your internal health. If you listen to them early, you aren't just stopping a tingle, you are protecting the very tools of your independence. Building on what we just discussed, there are several innocent habits that might be making your condition worse without you even realizing it. Many people try to solve this by tucking their hands directly under a heavy orthopedic pillow, believing the extra padding will cushion their nerves. In reality, this often creates a dangerous sandwich effect, where the weight of your head compresses the wrist against the mattress for hours. You might feel cozy for the first 10 minutes, but you are essentially restricting the vital blood supply that your nerves need to repair themselves. Another very common mistake involves the use of generic wrist supports purchased without professional guidance. I often see patients who tighten these braces far too much, thinking that more stability will prevent the nighttime curl. Unfortunately, a brace that is too snug can act like a tourniquet during the night when your body naturally retains more fluid. Instead of protecting the nerve, the tight brace traps the swelling inside the narrow carpal tunnel. This significantly increases the internal pressure and makes the morning numbness feel even more intense when you wake up. Finally, there is a physical reaction that almost everyone performs the second they feel that prickly sensation, the vigorous shaking of the hands. While it feels natural to try and wake up the fingers, doing this too forcefully can actually cause microtrauma to nerves that are already sensitized. Instead of rushing to shake the numbness away, a much safer approach is to gently move your shoulders and neck first. This is where the situation begins to change, because there is a specific evening routine that almost no one associates with their hand health. On top of these evening routines, your body often leaves other breadcrumbs that are just as easy to overlook. You might notice a subtle puffiness in your ankles, or a peculiar heaviness in your legs that feels like walking through deep water. Sometimes it shows up as a fleeting moment of brain fog, or a racing heart that wakes you up suddenly at night. These are the soft alarms indicating that your internal circulation needs closer attention. If you feel these today, your body is already starting a conversation. One specific sign you can look for tonight is whether you wake up feeling a strange chill in your feet, even under warm covers. This cold sensation, often paired with restless legs or a dry mouth, suggests that your nervous system is struggling to regulate blood flow while you rest. If you wake up between 2 and 4 in the morning, check your hands immediately. That slight stiffness you feel when reaching for a glass of water is a direct clue that your nerves are under hidden pressure. While most signs allow for gradual adjustments, there are moments where you must act quickly. If your hand numbness is accompanied by sudden weakness or sharp pain traveling to your chest, seek medical evaluation right away. Persistent loss of feeling that does not resolve quickly, or any sudden changes in your speech or vision, requires immediate professional attention. Recognizing these critical signals is the final piece in ensuring your safety. However, there is one more surprising factor about your sleeping environment that we must address. Now that we understand these warning signs, the most important step you can take tonight involves a simple adjustment to how you position your body before drifting off. Many people find relief by focusing on keeping their wrists in what we call a neutral position, neither bent sharply forward nor extended back. You can remember these 3 things. Keep your wrists straight, avoid tucking your hands under the weight of your head, and ensure your elbows are not bent too tightly against your chest. These small changes help keep those internal pathways open and free from pressure all night long. In addition to your posture, managing how your body handles fluids in the evening can make a surprising difference for your nerve health. since extra fluid can increase internal pressure in the narrow tunnels of your wrist. It is often helpful to finish your largest drinks at least 2 hours before you plan to sleep. You might want to note this down. Moderate your salt intake during dinner and try using a supportive pillow that keeps your neck naturally aligned with your spine. This encourages better circulation and prevents that invisible swelling from squeezing your nerves while you rest. Beyond the bedroom, the health of your hands is deeply connected to how you move your neck and shoulders during the day. Integrating gentle movements that open up the chest and lengthen the neck can reduce the tension that eventually travels down to your fingertips. I often tell my patients to remember the 2-minute rule. Every hour, take 2 minutes to gently roll your shoulders back and tilt your head from side to side. This simple habit keeps the communication lines clear and ensures your nerves are resilient enough to handle the stillness of the night. Finally, remember that these adjustments are about creating a consistent environment for your body to repair itself, rather than seeking a miracle overnight fix. If you start implementing these 3 pillars, neutral positioning, evening fluid balance, and daily neck mobility, you are providing your nervous system with the best possible chance to recover. This proactive approach is the most effective way to protect your independence and keep your fine motor skills sharp. If the numbness persists despite these changes, it is a clear sign to schedule a conversation with your healthcare provider to investigate further. Taking charge of these small morning signals is one of the most powerful ways you can safeguard your independence and quality of life. By paying attention to how your body wakes up and making minor adjustments to your routine, you are actively preventing silent damage and ensuring your hands remain reliable tools. Remember, your body doesn't speak in shouts until it has been whispering for a long time, and listening to those whispers today is the best gift you can give your future self. If you want to continue learning how to interpret these silent signs your body sends, you can follow this channel for more insights on longevity. I am always looking for ways to support your health journey, so please let me know in the comments which medical topic you would like me to cover in my next video. Your feedback helps me create content that truly matters to you, and I look forward to continuing this conversation as we work together to protect your well-being.